Hello and welcome everyone to the Everyguys podcast, your one-stop shop for everything anime. With me as always, the wielder of the Adola Burst, Adam.
Thanks, Andy. Great to be here.
As always, this show will contain heavy spoilers regarding the newest season of anime. So if you aren't caught up yet, well, it's the end of the season. You should probably start getting caught up. It's almost over. You should probably get on that. A couple small notes before we get kicking with the show this week. We do have a newly updated Patreon page. So if you've been liking what you've been hearing from us, enjoying the podcast, you can always show your support by, giving us $1. And that $1 will get your name at the end of the podcast, just like it will this week for friends of the show like Brendan. So make sure to go on there and support us if you enjoy what we're doing. But with that, we are going to get kicking right into Arifureta from Commonplace, the World's Strongest, which I am behind on. I've missed like the past 3 weeks of episodes, but from what you said, I didn't miss a whole lot.
Yeah, we might as well. That's why we're doing this one first to get it over with real quick.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, the show has gone crazy, like taken another turn, and we have 3 episodes to talk about for this specific one. The second episode was extremely cringy, and we'll get to that. So, well, maybe we won't get to it. Maybe I won't explain it. I'll just give you the basics of what the show's been going about. The storyline of it is starting to get a little whack because the beginning, it was all about him trying to build his way up and become stronger, and then try to go back to his home world. But now he's getting sidetracked by everything, and his tough man personality and grungy, cringy edgelord type of thing, which they do mention edgelord. One of the other students they actually run across to call him an edgelord, but.
It's self-aware.
It is self-aware.
It knows.
But it seems like the storyline is starting to get tangled in, and his, character is not really defined. It's starting to stray away from what he originally built, and so they run into a guild, and the guild asks him to do something, and normally he would just been, throw it. I'm not doing that, but he helps them for some reason, and the reason he's helping them is so that the guild will back him. But he doesn't need help from the guild, so why does he even bother? But so I don't know. It's starting to get confusing. But the second episode that I did want to talk about was they get attacked by a dragon, and they seem to can't beat the dragon, but somehow it lands on the ground, and to beat it, the main boy shoves a pillar up the dragon's butt. And I don't know. Why did they come up with this stuff? And then the dragon starts moaning and getting into it. And you're just cringing the whole time. And it's like, why would they even do that? But it turns out it was like a dragonborn, so she transforms into a dragon and then comes back into a human. And I guess now she's very cringy in the sense of she wants to be dominated by this guy. So, and every time you see her on screen, it has something to do with it. So you got these 3 girls that are doing these really sexualized, the harem type of things. So it definitely is cringy. Don't want to go too much into detail about the storyline because I'm still confused of what the heck's going on. So I just wanted to point out that I knew it was going to be cringy after the was it the 6th or something episode?
See, it was doing so good. I was literally recommending the show to everyone. I'm like, it is cool music in the background. It's got these jazzy tunes. It's got a cool concept, and the animation style is a little bit different at times. And then we get Bunny Girl, and I was like, okay, well, I'm sure this is just a couple episodes and it'll get back to normal. And now we have this, so it is not. It's going downhill quick. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I think there's only 2 more episodes left, so
ride it out.
Unless they get another season, but I doubt it based on my reaction, and I don't think anybody else.
No, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way this is getting another season. This is going to be a one and done. Next up, we got Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Season 2. What's going on here?
So, we left off with Belle and the samurai girl in the pleasure district, trying to not necessarily save the fox. I think they was kidnapped, and they were trying to run away. But we learned that the fox girl is gonna die, just to provide power to the familiar Ishtar familiar, so they could beat Freya. And it all comes down to, we find out that the plan really was so Ishtar can beat Freya, because Freya wants Belle, but we don't know why.
Yeah, I don't. I think mainly they've had a beef for a while, and the Belle thing I think is just the icing on the cake, because now Ishtar sees she is insanely jealous of Freya, and all these whispers of people, like all these men that think that Freya is the more beautiful of the two, and that it infuriates Ishtar, because that's her whole thing. Like her sexuality is weaponized, and that's what she takes pride in. And so to know that there's someone better at her own game, really, really peeves her off.
Yeah, and so, but we do see that she prides herself on that ability to charm the people, and we see that she did try to charm Belle, and he actually has some ability that prevents himself from being charmed, which is a big thing, because this is
he would have been toast.
Yeah, this is a goddess. He was able to fight off a goddess, so it shows that he has some innate abilities that we haven't seen yet that could break out and make him stronger, which we see kind of in I don't know if it's a foreshadowing type of aspect, or if it's just trying to drive the story. At the end of the next episode, we see that Hermes actually planned this whole thing.
The sleeper agent.
Yeah. And his reason wasn't, he didn't care about if Freya was gonna kill Ishtar's familiar. He didn't care that they fought. What he was trying to do is turn Belle into a hero or something.
Yeah, and he mentioned some I don't know, little tidbits of information that I don't think we had. Something about Zeus, who, to the best of my knowledge, we have not seen anyone Zeus yet.
Yeah.
But he said something about Zeus trying to create a hero and it didn't work, and what he couldn't accomplish, they were going to accomplish with I can't remember the name of the city, Oriaro. I don't know. That's what they were going to accomplish there. So he's pretty much causing these giant family conflicts behind the scenes, also that Belle can become this hero of legend. Which is super dope, because we, up until this point, we always seen Hermes as oh, I don't have anything to do with this, I'm just a messenger. But in reality, he's the one pulling the strings and setting these big events into motion. And he's literally leaving a literal wake of bodies. At the end of the most recent episode, Ishtar
gets sent back to heaven.
Yeah, gets 300 kicked off not even 300. It gets slapped off the building and right back up to heaven, so she can never come back down again. So he's essentially, because of his plots, caused the destruction of a major familia. The whole entire Ishtar family is now going to have to disband because of him.
So in this season, we've had two familias,
major gods,
gone, big ones, gone. So I think that's the title of it was Familia Myth, or Myth Familia, or something like that. So I think, I don't know if that means anything or not, but it's just showing that this season is all about the Familia, and we learned all about them. We didn't really know too much about it in the first season. I don't think. I mean,
not really. And that's something else that I noted, was that what originally got me into this show, and I mean it still is. I would very much prefer for them to get back into the dungeon.
Yeah,
because I love the world building of that. And while this season is good, it's just different. It's not what I originally came to the show for. This is more about interpersonal relations. It's more politics based. Very much, this is a character driven season.
Yep.
Whereas last season was more world building and exploring the dungeon, which is it's the same kind of stuff that I really enjoyed from Made in Abyss. Made this show cool. Like I like that, building this world of magic and mystique that comes with these dungeon type shows. So it's not that it's bad. It's just, it's a different approach than what this show had in season 1. So I mean, they are mixing it up a little bit, but I'd say they're doing a pretty good job. Yeah, it's still working.
Yeah, it still worked. And I mean, I could see, I don't know. See, the title has to do with the dungeons, and this whole season, I think they went in the dungeon twice. So,
yeah, and they got kidnapped out, and that's how this whole series of events kind of started. Was that the Amazonian Ishtar family like kidnapped him out of the dungeon? But
they end up stopping the ritual to create the stones before they end up Ishtar is sent off. They end up breaking the stone, and Foxgirl was saved. So,
and she finally made up her damn mind. She's been like not making any major decisions for the past couple episodes, and she finally said, okay, you know what, maybe I do want to be saved, and was actually able to power up Belle while he was fighting the big Amazonian frog looking lady. And also, I'm so what was the most, like, the part of the episode that made me the most happy was seeing her get knocked on the head by the big beefy guy from the Freya family.
Yep.
When she was like trying to like woo him with her sexual wiles and saying like, "Oh, I can pleasure you more than Freya ever could," and the guy was like, "You did not just say that about my goddess," and gives her that chop. It literally like crushed her teeth with his blow to the head. So that was very satisfying, because her character has just been annoying me for the past 5 episodes. So that was nice.
A thing that did look like they only showed a couple, heavy hitters from the Freya family, but they did say the one's level
6, bruh.
It was like, what? These things high. Like they were talking about how
level 3 people hit hard.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised actually by like, this show doesn't really show a whole lot of like heavy fatal hits necessarily.
They don't. But that one,
and the random unnamed Amazonian or Ishtar family member gets hit with a spear in the chest. He just lobs it and spears her to the ground. I'm pretty sure she bit the dust. He murdered her.
Murder
who? So he's definitely. I mean, we've been introduced to him before, and he's always been the hard ass kind of badass character, and we're definitely going to see more of him in the future. Other random things that we noticed: Belle has some weird glowing hand. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. Well, I think there was something else in season 1 when Hestia was, or whatever her name was looking at his back, his stats and stuff. She noticed something and didn't tell him about it. I can't remember what that was, if it has something to do with that hand thing. Because what happened at the end of this first season, he did like some superpower move or something. Maybe that has to do with it too. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a while since I watched season 1. You would think we would do more research before doing these podcasts, but no, we're about as clueless as the rest of everybody else. Next up, we got Fire Force. What have you thought of the most recent episodes?
So we get some more ambiguity, I guess, about what's going on. They introduced the evangelist and some super flame abilities in some people, called the Adelaide Burst or something.
Adola Burst.
Adola Burst.
Which apparently is supposed to be like the sacred flame of the gods. Like when Sol created the world, like that's the flame that he used. And so not many people have this sacred flame, like pretty
ancient
much.
Flame. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also, that flame is what's being used to power all of Tokyo in this world. Like they have an Adola Burst flame.
Amaterasu power plant.
Yeah, and that's what's powering it. And we get that information from Rekka before he gets wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we see the end of Rekka, and he gets frozen by Tuba Bro, and they think they're going to be able to haul him away and question him, and he just like a hole just appears in his chest from this apparently pretty OP fire sniper that blasts people with arrows, and I mean this thing put a pretty decent size
hole,
fist size hole right through his chest. So done. He ain't talking no more. But that was probably a good decision on their part, because he full on spilled the beans. Like they had no idea about any of this stuff. And
he was leaking it.
Yeah, he was leaking major information. He's like, this is the name of the guy in charge of this organization that's creating infernals. Here is my rank. Here is our ultimate goal, which apparently is to turn the earth into a giant sun. So as like as a way to praise Soul. So it's a cult thing. Is that the real reason? I have a feeling that that's like the pseudo reason that they tell all the rank and file scrubs, but there's probably like a bigger, behind the scenes thing, I'm assuming, from this evangelist character.
There definitely is.
We also get some information regarding main character's brother, who
from the Joker,
from the Joker, who we're still not sure what his relation is. He seems to be a separate entity from
a third party of some sort.
Yeah, third party. We're not sure where he fits into this whole equation and why he has all this information, but he's just like feeding him little by little, Shinra little by little, this information. But he tells him that his brother, who Shinra thought had died in the fire that killed his mother, was actually being trained by this group led by the evangelist, and is like one of the head honchos. And in the most recent episode, it ends with us seeing what I would assume is Shinra's brother.
Yeah, he got the same grinny smile, same color eyes.
But what white hair?
But with white hair, yeah.
And he looks like he's very high up, like a commander of like a whole legion of these cultist lackeys.
Yeah, white coats or something. They called him something white something, but
yeah, I don't know. But I think like the costume design wise, it looks very Templar Knight-ish.
Yes.
So that's the general ambiance that they are going for. One thing that I thought was going to be really, really cool, and once again, Fire Force let me down. We got to see all of the captains of the squads revealed, and they were the worst character designs. None of them look cool.
No.
None of them. We've seen all the cool ones. Maybe the only one that had something like different going on was the guy with the plague mask, but the rest of them are just these like average looking dudes. And, one of them has that badass, like, Yami from Black Clover kind of vibe. Like, I'm only here to battle strong people, and I don't care about the bureaucracy.
Yep. Overplayed character.
Yep. So, and which he shows up to the meeting. They tell them the point of the meeting, and then he immediately leaves the meeting. Why did he even show up? They even made a point of saying, like, oh, man, he's here. He never shows up. Why did he even show up if he was just going to storm out and say that, well, this was stupid? So that's my gripe. My other gripe is, one, the fan service in the battle scene was completely unnecessary. I get it. I know why they do the fan service, and I'm not even totally against the fan service in the show altogether. But it was just so out of place. We started the major fight with Rekka, and then he's getting in there talking about his tactics for the battle, and next thing you know, he's face first into the cat chick's bosom.
And it's not just that one time either. It's just now it's reoccurring. Every single scene they're in together.
So that's her trope. Like I said, they pick one trope for these characters. Arthur talks about being a knight. Shinra has the smile.
And all about the hero thing.
Yeah, the chick gets put into promiscuous situations, but because of bad luck, over and over and over again, every episode. So it's my other gripe. But I mean, the fight scenes weren't actually all that bad, especially like the drop kick looked pretty nice, and him getting blasted with the fire arrow through the chest was a pretty nice moment, but. I mean, it's just not hitting the same highs as some of the other shows this season. So
yeah,
That and their dialogue.
The dialogue is so bad.
Them talking, especially Shinra. Shinra's dialogue is so anti-heroic. His whole thing is about becoming a hero, but he's just so cliche that I physically cringe listening to him talk about it.
Yep.
And so they got to up the writing. that's all I'm saying. They got to up the writing.
Like one of my notes, I quote him, "The hero always wins," unquote. And I just thought, oh, that is just so gross.
The hero always wins. Well, I was studying the blade while you were slacking off. So Fire Force is, it's going. We're getting to the business, but I don't know. There's problems.
Yeah.
Problems that need resolved if they wanna keep this train rolling.
I wonder if the manga is kind of like this or not. I don't know.
Because you know what? It's reminding me of the beginning of Black Clover. I feel like we had all these same gripes with the beginning of Black Clover, and then they did fix it.
Yeah,
I mean, mind you, I don't think they're going to have as many episodes as Black Clover. Black Clover's on episode 101 now. I don't think Fire Force is going to get greenlit that far, but who knows? Maybe it will. And hopefully, once they get that far, I would hope that they would learn from some of these mistakes and get it together.
This show, it doesn't seem like it's a long driven, very episode
at the pace they're going. There's no way.
No,
I mean we've already we're at the big bad. We're at least halfway through. I think it's a 24 episode season. We're halfway. We got the big bad, and all pretty much at the pace they're moving. All 8 squads are going to be working together hunky dory in like 2 episodes. So we'll see.
I mean, Black Clover was similar. It is similar, I should say, but now in the manga, they're all done with the whole Eye of the Midnight Sun and the elves section, and they're moving on to something else. But it had nothing to do with whatever's in the beginning. If you watch the first 3 episodes or read the first 3 chapters of the manga, you wouldn't expect them to do what they're doing now. So maybe it's going to be something similar. I'm not sure what's going to happen either. So
yeah. Hey, so we'll keep watching. Next up, we have Dr. Stone. It's still, I'd say the pacing in this is it's just fine. We're not. I'm not gonna complain because we are getting significant improvements each week.
Yes.
I'm glad it's not rushing through, getting to like the final battle with what's his name already. I like the pacing of this. Like, okay, this episode we're getting this major key in the science equation, and in the next episode it's like, okay, and from that now we can make this. Well, and like we're getting small character improvements. And we're slowly getting towards the plot, but I'm mainly just I'm enjoying the science.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a little different too. They're not just focusing on, all right, we got to go make steel this time, and they spend the whole episode doing that. They have little interactions between different things in them. So like the most recent episode, they're making glass, and while they're doing this, they also are training the 2 guards because they want to win this bout to marry the Rui or whatever his name is, the princess of the village. So they're working on that too because of some other problems that happened, and then they're also, because of this glass, they're introducing a new character who's going to do other stuff for them and not just make the glass. He's going to be an artisan who's going to be making other stuff, pots, vases, and other things, not just glass, maybe some other things. So it's not just focusing on the one thing. Like, they're making a glass for 2 different reasons too. They're trying to make glasses for the watermelon head girl, and they're trying to make glass for to use as a glassware for the labs, and so they could create the antibiotic for Ruri or whatever her name is.
You're forgetting something else that you're not forgetting. I just realized this. One of the big thing from the prior episode was that Gen decided that he was going to side with them on the condition that what's the main character's name? Oh boy.
Dr. Stone?
Senku. Okay, so Senku, I just realized, the other thing they can use the glass for, they can make a glass Coke bottle for Gen's Coke.
Yeah.
Because he that was his specification on joining this team of science was that Senku could provide him with an ice cold cola.
A nice cold cola with his ramen.
Yeah, so nice. We got glass for the bottle. Now he's just gonna make the Coke. The old man artisan is badass, though.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I was expecting like this hunched over old man because he was tied up, and he just rips off the ropes and is shredded. Years of honing his craft as an artisan. Shredded. And he's just like whipping around the metal rod to blow the glass with, and like literally it takes him no time at all to be able to make these shapes that I'm not sure are really possible in glass blowing. They're making like beakers and graduated
Erlenmeyer
cylinders, Erlenmeyer flasks. I don't know if you can do that, but whatever. Science.
It seems like, going off track a little bit, it seems like a lot of shows, when they introduce an old man character, he's always, has his gray hair. I don't know if this guy even has gray hair, and they are always jacked. Like,
shredded.
Absolutely shredded.
I already know who you're thinking of in your head. You're thinking
Bleach?
of the. I was gonna say the grandpa or the headmaster from Food Wars, but yes, Bleach, the head captain, Food Wars, the guy with the beard. They're all jacked. They're always jacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dr. Stone's been going good. Like I said, they're having like these good key moments every episode, making progress. The village has not accepted them at all yet. They're working one person at a time. They're going like, okay, we need to win over this person. This is how we're going to win over this person. And it's very methodical.
Yeah, exactly. That's like how they got the old guy. They're like doing the glass work, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is pitiful. What? Yeah, they can't do it this way. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up. Here, just give it to me." And he does it, and he's like in love. He's like, "Oh yeah, shit.
Here we go.
Got me.
Got him."
And he even said in his mind, "Oh, they're doing this on purpose."
I can't resist. They're doing it so wrong. They have to be doing it on purpose if they're doing it that wrong. Next up, we got Demon Slayer, which is kind of it's slowed down a little bit, but it for good reason. We had our climax of the first season, it would seem, and now we're going into our training arc, quote unquote. Maybe not an arc, maybe a couple episodes. Boarhead guy, his ego has been completely crushed.
Shattered.
Yeah, because he realized how weak he was in comparison, and he wasn't able to finish literally any of them in that forest. So it made him realize, like, maybe I'm not as strong as I thought I was, and he's really on the pity train. And not to mention, as a character that was so loud before, in the fight, he had his windpipe crushed.
Oh yeah.
So he can barely talk. So this loud character is now forced to be introspective. And we were already getting hints of this from his thoughts leaving the little hotel thing with the old lady, and him thinking about those things, and his whole mindset. We've seen this shift, and he's really gonna have to break himself out of this funk if he's gonna be useful in the future. But I mean, he obviously down the road is going to be. He seems like too important of a character just to let this stop him.
But going off of that, with this last two episodes, we see that all of our favorite boys are all there healing up, from their incursion. They all took some major hits. All were pretty much wounded very badly. But the butterfly pillar, or whatever, I don't even know what her name is, but the butterfly girl,
Yep.
You know her. We all know her. But she's decided to take them in and have her students or cohorts or her fellow butterfly people train them and help boost them a little bit better. And the episode, most recent one, I think, goes into the detail about what they were doing with them, and they get crushed that they can't do some of this stuff, and they end up quitting out. Zenitsu and
Boarhead guy that we can't think of his name.
Yeah, Boarhead guy. They end up just going, but Tanjiro keeps going, and the butterfly girl at the end of the episode asked him why he keeps doing this, even though they stopped, and he goes, "Well, if I keep doing it, I could learn how to do it. Then I could teach them too." So we see that some more character building based on Tanjiro, saying that we see that he actually cares about these guys too, and he's not just co-workers. They're actually
these are his friends.
Yeah. And so if he can improve himself, he wants to help the others improve too, because he's not just thinking about himself, which I see a lot of these Slayers actually they're
very self-centered.
Yes.
Very ego-driven, very reclusive and self-centered. So to see this kind of change and to see someone that cares about his friends and his comrades and even cares about demons, which is something that gets brought up later in the most recent episode where he's having the conversation with Butterfly Lady on the roof. And he just comes out and asks her straight up, like, "You mad, bro?" Because you seem mad. Like she's smiling, but she's always angry, and she has this like scent of anger on her. And she kind of explains that, and we get her backstory a little bit on that her sister was killed by the demons, and the reason she's always smiling is because her sister loved the smile. So while she wants to befriend these demons to honor her sister, who has a very similar mindset to Tanjiro, she just doesn't know how. There's too much hate in her heart to find how that's possible, and that's why she's doing all this for Tanjiro, because she sees that in him and that same kindness, and thinks that he'll finally be able to achieve what her sister wanted. So I think that's a really big one. And the other big thing that's happening right now is that he learned one of the secrets to the power of all the pillars is that they're, like, every moment of the day, including when they're sleeping, are always doing the total concentration breathing. And we get the Naruto Rasengan balloon activity where you have to, put a bunch of force into a small object and make it break. In this case, instead of small water balloons, it is gourds that progressively get larger and larger. So that's what he's training on right now, doing a lot of meditation, working on his breathing, doing calisthenics outside, working with the other members in this training facility kind of deal. And he seems to be, there's a lot of hard work, but he seems to be getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
Zenitsu, on the other hand, is being a jackass.
Yes.
As always, complaining about everything. And the only reason why he's doing the training is because he gets to interact with women. That's his only reason. That's his only motivation. Meanwhile, he still has like small arms from the spider thing. Next up, we got Black Clover, which reached a pretty nice climactic fight. I mean, it's not the climax, but I mean, it was definitely the kickoff to, what's going to be, I'm assuming, a much larger fight. And it's already, they're breaking out all the stops on the animation again.
Yep.
Ever since, I'm trying to think, what was ever since the arc with the witch in the forest and stuff, they really they got their shit together on the animation front for sure, and it's become very, very impressive. And I'd like to say, like, this one, would you say this is better than the fight?
Yeah, it was definitely better. I don't know if it was more anticipated or more drawn out. Like the other one might have been more time, but this one, there was a lot going on, a lot of action, a lot of boom boom. We're like, ooh, nice. Oh, that's amazing. So there was a lot going into it, but it's kind of I think it's more of just a glimpse of seeing what's going to happen ahead than anything.
Yeah.
Knowing based on manga, it is. So
it's getting wild. And I don't know. I don't think I would put this as the top. I still think I really like that fight with all the cubey animation. I just like that weird abstract style. So I like that one. But I'd say this is definitely on par, if not better than the verse paintbrush guy fight.
Yeah.
I think this one edges it out maybe just a little bit.
Just a little
me.
bit.
It was pretty cool, and we get to see the power scaling here. That's pretty much what the past like 4 episodes have been.
Yes.
Is establishing the scale of the power levels, and making sure we are fully understanding, as they've drilled into us many, many times, that these elves are very powerful. We get it.
It's and they're doing it on purpose too.
Yeah,
they're doing it.
They're making us know.
It's for 2 reasons. I don't want to say anything, but it's definitely for 2 reasons. And one's going to become more prevalent earlier than the other. That one's going to be more of a shock. So, but the next couple of episodes are going to hopefully, and if I remember correctly, we'll see some good Black Bull interaction. So
nice. I mean, just some notes from the fights too. Like we got to see the current captain of the Crimson Lions pull out her like special secret move, which is pretty much just like this crazy mana zone that I'm assuming is so dense that they can't even use their magic within it.
It just burns up their magic.
Yeah, and it hit them pretty hard, but I mean it wasn't enough to knock any of them out really. And really the only way that they were able to escape that fight was all 5 of the elf
combined attack.
Did a combined elemental blast, and then Zara did the reflect thing back at Asta, and then Asta smacked it back at him, and then they reflected it again and then kicked it. So it was really like a 4 times level spell, and even that didn't whack him.
No,
I mean, so that's showing you for reference how much they're going to have to hurt these people to knock them down. And these people are not the highest level. One of them is like pretty high up there, kind of top tier, but the rest of them are just like the rank and file mid tier elves.
The thing that we did miss about that is Asta did try to use his anti-magic to cancel it out, and it doesn't work. So
yeah,
they got to figure something out.
Yeah, so that's a problem. Other problem, we now have a like half asleep, half awakened lich, like the OG lich, not the fake lich. He is now awake. He apparently has something to do with Asta's swords and grimoire. I think they're his swords and his grimoire is what they're saying. And he actually steals one of the swords off of Asta. So Asta is down to 1 sword. And he also has so now Lich has 2 swords. The other one looks pretty cool as well. And Asta's down to 1. We did get Yuno is up and awake now.
With elf powers.
With elf powers. He must have outwilled the elf that was inside of his body, at least for now. And goes full on elf form with the fairy power, wind attacks, and he's hanging in there.
Well, the thing
it took them a little bit, but
the thing with that, I think I don't know if they actually even say it, but I think that's actually their unborn child soul inside, the elf king or lich and the wizard king's sister. Unborn child.
Right.
And that's why he was able to control it.
Huh. I would probably do it. That would do it.
I mean, he's fighting an unborn baby. For the will of his body.
See, here I am, like, talking up like, he's fine, he has the willpower, and you're like, well, it's a baby, so, yeah. But, I mean, the actual fight was very good, and, animation-wise, like we already said before, was amazing. And setting the bar, Lich looks like he packs a punch. I mean, he roasted an entire section of land.
Yeah.
I'm talking like, I wouldn't say, I'm trying to use I've been using a bunch of Naruto references here, but Madara level, but not like Sage of the Six Paths Madara. I'm talking maybe before Madara, Madara dropping the meteor on the meteor Madara. Not like Truth Seeker Orbs Madara, because that's way too broken.
Well, they are definitely showing it on purpose.
Yeah.
So
he's flexing.
He's not flexing. I think the studio is flexing
on
showing that.
Studio.
They're trying to compare him to something. So
Yeah. Huh. But then next up, we have a couple shows that you have binged watched.
Yeah.
So these are not some currently airing ones. There's some the back catalog that we've made our way through.
Yeah, so
some of these I've seen, some of them I haven't. Others I've recommended to you. But
yeah,
first one,
like I said last time, I started watching those Netflix exclusives. Mostly, it's very easy to watch. If you have Netflix, you should probably watch them too, because they're dubbed, and so you could just sit there and listen, and you don't have to read subtitles, and it's more engaging than sitting there trying to read and look up to try to check out the scene, read, do that fast pace. You could just sit back and enjoy it.
But first one up, we got March Comes In Like a Lion, season 1 and season 2. This show is personally probably in my overall top 10 of all time.
Yes.
What did you think of March Comes In Like a Lion?
I agree with you. It was very good. I that's what I just want to say. Almost all these shows that I'm going to talk about, except for the beginning, they're all these coming of age, emotional
drama series.
The stories. And so I've been really getting into that right now, and any show that could like make like tears come out of my eyes and like get me like emotional about it within like their like 10 12 episodes or 22 episodes, however, they're doing their job at trying to get you to do it.
Yeah.
Like some of these, they're like they get you good. And so, but this that was a sidetrack. But yeah, go back to March Comes In Like a Lion. It's a good show because it's this coming of age thing. So you can see like how these characters react to different things that happen in their everyday lives, which we can relate to, and be like, oh, geez, I understand how they're struggling through that. Like the one girl gets bullied, and her I think her classmate ends up leaving the school because she gets bullied so bad, and then she becomes a bully, and it's kind of like, oh man, why can't somebody do something about it? And it takes them like 2 teachers to finally do something about it, and it's like crazy. So it's just you could sit back and relate to them, and it's not some sort of shonen or some sort of action make-believe show. You can actually have some sort of interrelation of with understanding. And the one thing that was cool about the March Comes In the Line is they had some of the musics in the background while they're doing some of the interactions is pretty good, and the clicking with the checker piece, the shogi tiles. Piece, yes, it's
so satisfying.
Addicting. Yes, satisfying, and it kind of gets you want to play the game too, shogi. And so I started playing it on my phone just to try to learn the rules while I was watching it. You definitely get like, oh man, I kind of want to play this game. Like they talk, like hype it up, but they don't explain too much of what's going on, except for they do have like, I don't know, episode 4, episode 5 in, they had like these cats.
Trying to explain it.
Yeah, not very good at it though. But
it's one of those shows where like shogi is a main focus, but it's less on the game and more on the lives of the people that are playing.
Yes.
And I guess the big things that I can pitch to you guys to make you watch the show, because it's great. I'd say that it excels in 2 areas. One, it makes very good use of animation as a way to draft metaphors. Like it provides these great illustrative storytelling ideas about these complex emotions, through these visualizations, like him swimming through an ocean, and it's just animated so beautifully and in such an artistic fashion, where all the shot composition is very much focused on making you feel these emotions. And that's the other thing, is it really excels at displaying very, very hard to communicate ideas and emotions. Like this show is one of the best representations of, I think, depression, of, like you said, coming of age, loss of bullying, but more than anything, I think depression and isolation. This show excels at making a very realistic explanation and make it into a more visual format.
Yeah.
And at first, when you first start watching the show, you're going to probably be it's jarring because how they draw the characters is, it's different. There's no other show that looks like this show, and especially like the one gripe I hear a lot from people that first start it is like their mouths bother them.
Yeah,
but like you get used to it. I promise you get used to it.
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah. You just it becomes just part of the artistic style of the show.
Yeah.
But I more than anything, I love the backgrounds and the metaphor and analogies. But overall, it's a really good story. It's a really good character study. It shows a lot of interpersonal things, and like you said, what we are normally the action shonen guys, but these dramas, it hits you something fierce. They use the medium of animation to tell this story that I just don't think would be possible in a live action setting. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love anime and animation like this so much, is that it breaks open this whole new possibility of storytelling and relating to others through this visual format.
Yeah.
Another show you started watching was Be the Beginning. What'd you think of that one?
It was good, kind of simplistic.
It was fun,
actiony kind of mystery type of thing. So it was
good. The dub was fun. I very much enjoyed how they did the dub, and I think these kind of shows are very much westernized in their content.
Yeah,
and that leads itself a little bit better towards these dubs, and it just felt right. Like my main selling point for this one, the fight scenes are pretty good. The main character reminds me very much of House, like the medical show.
Yeah,
that's just the vibe he gives me. But like if you like true crime, like kind of detective stuff, and there's a little bit an aspect of mystery, but ultimately there's a few major fight scenes throughout the show that make it all worth it. Storytelling wise, it's okay.
Yeah, pretty simplistic.
It's not going to win any awards for best story, but it's very nice. It's conclusive to an extent. They're fun characters. I would say this show would be mainly for fans of like Psychopaths. I'm trying to think like crime drama shows, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Any other standout moments from this one for you?
Nothing really. It's been a while since I binged it probably in 2 days, so
it's short.
Yeah, it's pretty short. So it kind of ends kind of weird. Other than that, it kind of just, I don't know, kind of just ends. But
yeah,
a lot of these shows just end, so they have to end.
Yeah. And then the last one you got here,
I have two more.
You have a couple more. Your Lie in April.
Yeah, Your Lie in April, and then also The Flower We Saw That Day. There's another word in the beginning. I'm not sure what it is, but both of these shows are very short, maybe like 10 or 12 episodes, and I was looking for something to continue after watching March Comes In Like a Lion, something more of this coming of age and this a more emotional type of shows. And the first couple episodes of these, I'm like, oh, I was looking for ones that would grab my
the heartstrings
and maybe have a tear come down, and I'm thinking, oh, the first 2-3 episodes, I'm like, oh no, definitely not. This definitely isn't gonna happen. Oh, no way. At the end, there's tears coming down, dude.
Anohana is the beginning, the name of the show.
Okay, Anohana.
Yeah.
That one, I felt no emotion at all until the last freaking episode. And then it hits you really hard, and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying, but this stupid show. It's very emotional at the end. And then Your Lie in April, it gets you twice. There's two big things that are very emotional, and maybe that one's 22 episodes, and it's like episode 18 and then episode 22, whatever the last one. So the going back of it, they're both kind of similar. The Your Lie in April, it's about some piano prodigy who his mother passes away, and he loses his hearing on the notes, so when he starts playing, he can't hear it. but he gets to, he still has his hearing. He just can't hear the notes anymore. And so he meets some girl who can play violin, and she kind of helps him grow past that and become a better piano player, and then grows off of that. I don't want to ruin anything with it because it's a big plot things, but it gets really emotional, and it's another one of those grieving, getting over loss, moving on, and bettering yourself shows, the coming of age type of thing. And then Anohana, what is it?
Anohana.
Anohana, the flower we saw that day, is another one like it too. It's the getting past loss. What happened is there's this group of friends who, when they were kids, one of their friends died, and now it's them in high school, and they're all separated. And what happened is the friend that died came back as a ghost to one of them, and they're trying to get her to go to heaven or move on or something. So it's about them grieving through it and trying to get back together as friends after they separated, and moving on. So these are both moving on, coming of age stories, and they do get emotional. So
be ready with the tissues.
Yep.
The other recommendation I have for you, just because I think this is going to be right up your alley, and then for the listeners as well, one of my favorite drama series of all time that kind of hits on these notes, and it hits very much the same notes that March Comes In Like a Lion did for me, was I don't think it has an English name. It's Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. Okay, I know that was a mouthful, but the whole point of this show is this convict just got out of jail, and he was part of like the Yakuza, but wants to like clean up his act and he wants to do so by performing this. It's mainly like an oral tradition. It's kind of like what we would do as stand-up comedy, in the westernized world, but this is like a very old tradition where they sit on the stage like in a kneeling position, and they tell stories that are almost like comic driven stories, but there's also drama stories, and it's very much like what we saw in March Comes In Like a Lion, in the structure of like the whole shogi system, where there's people, classes, like there's obviously people to become better and better and better, and you become recognized and more revered the higher up you go in the chain of command, kind of, and then become like a master. And there's people that are just these amazing storytellers in it. And not only is it very much character driven in this way, but watching them actually perform these very traditional rakugo is the name of it. These kind of like plays and stories. It's just such a cool format that I never knew existed. And as you would expect, they're literally reading these. The vocal acting in this is amazing. It is not dubbed, and I don't think it could ever be dubbed, just because I think it would lose a lot of the nuance, because it's such an auditory thing. I don't think that they could compete with the performances that these actors give in this show. And then also giving these visual displays to show representation on what they're talking about and the stories they're telling. I really, really enjoyed this one. Like this one, I think edges out even March Comes In Like a Lion for me,
really,
as my favorite drama show. So you guys will have to give that one a watch. But with that, I think that concludes this week's episode of the Anime Everyguys. Thank you guys so much for listening. We very, very much appreciate it. We are continuing to close in on the 1 year mark of doing the podcast. And like we said before, we just wanted to hear some more feedback from you guys, hear what you guys wanted us to do as like kind of a celebratory special podcast, whether that be, talking about our top 10 anime of all time. Another friend of the show, Tim, submitted a comment and asked us to do maybe something like have a tournament arc of our favorite characters, battle it out, my characters versus Adam's or something like that, which I think is a cool idea too. But we're just still brainstorming some cool ideas. So make sure you get a hold of us on Facebook or Twitter and just, let us know what you want to hear. And with that, stay cool.